Nubian Money, where we help you master your mindset and maximize your money. Today, we're talking about luxury brands taking advantage of its consumers. Court documents reveal that Dior pays just $57 to make handbags that they sell to us for $2,780. The renowned fashion house Dior has landed in a lot of hot water recently following serious allegations of exploiting Chinese workers in their production of their handbags, which are sold at excessive prices compared to their production costs. And it's no secret that most luxury brands do this, but it's time we now start to look at how it really affects our community, especially Black women. I am joined today by my beautiful queens. Look at us. Aren't we beautiful? I love seeing my queens. I'm here with Minister Connie Spearman, author and real estate investor, Athena Gardner, CPA and wealth coach, Tiara Williams, actress and producer, and Jade Harrell. And Jade, I'm sorry, I always forget your company. When you come up, I need you to tell me what your company is. So, ladies, let's pull up some stats though first. I want to address this because I see all sorts of things on both sides in my business of real estate. So I want you to listen to this. And audience, if you're here, our viewers, we want to hear your comments. Number one, luxury spending. A report by Bain and Company indicated that the global luxury good market was worth approximately $300 billion. I didn't say M, I said billion in 2001. The U.S. is one of the largest markets for luxury goods. Now, let me break it down a little bit more. Black consumer spending. According to 2008 Nielsen report, Black consumers in the U.S. have a collective buying power of 1.3 trillion. Now listen, I don't even gone up in the alphabet. Trillion. And fashion and beauty are among the top categories for spending. Whoa, I don't even know how to even wrap my head around that. So ladies, I'm actually going to ask you a question, and I'll tell you that I am not a luxury girl. I've never been, and I don't think I ever will be. So I'm going to hear what you are saying. What if you buy luxury or not? Let's start with Minister Connie. Do you splurge?
Yes, I do. I like the finer things in life. You know, after a while, after you get a certain status, my house is paid off. I have an investment account. I have all those things in place. Yes, I do go out and buy me a nice Gucci purse. Got a couple. So,
But does this change your thought about it though? After seeing, like what Dior is doing?
well, I don't have a Dior. I don't particularly care for Dior, but I like Gucci. I like Louis Vuitton. Those are the ones that I like. And I think that the brand that I have and ones that I have bought are very quality pieces. And that's what I look for, the quality in the artwork in it.
Nice.
Yeah,
Nice.
so pretty
What
much.
about you, Tiara? You're in TV, you're a producer, you might be out on the red carpet. So what about you?
Yeah, one thing that Hollywood has taught me is that perception is everything. And so I don't necessarily buy them. I do have, however, rich aunties. And so I can go to those rich aunties and be like, you know what? This is a cute purse. Let me get it. I do it every single time. Every time I am around my family, I go in their closet. And so that helps with keeping costs down because I just, but I know, so to answer your question, yes and no. I don't necessarily always invest in it, but I definitely always got a nice bag. Thanks, aunties.
Isn't it nice to have aunties to go shopping in the closet?
Yes.
Jay, what about you? Do you partake in the luxury products?
I do. Like Minister Connie, I love the finer things in life. However, I don't live for those things, right? And I'm not, so I do have nicer, name brand clothes, especially. But like Tierra, my bag has to be legit. My shoes I don't do cheap shoes. I don't do cheap bags or cheap coats in the wintertime. So like if those three main things are of high quality, then I can kind of mix and match my clothing. But I also support a lot of Black designers. I like to shop at TJ Maxx. I shop at Marshalls. I shop at Nordstrom Rack. And so I like to get luxury priced items or luxury brands at like 70% off, then I feel like, I feel like I'm getting over a bit and I'm able to afford it. But I'm not going out and just saying like, oh, this is Gucci or Dior or something, I need to get it. The other things that I will spend money on is fragrance and makeup. Like that gets to be top notch. But other than that, some of the stuff I get, if I see it on sale on clearance, it's like from 2 seasons ago, and that's okay. I like luxury brands because they do last longer. I like the materials. I like real leather. So yeah, that's me.
I have to say, we would probably have a really good time if we went shopping because those are my favorite stores. I love those stores. Now, Miss Athena, I think I know your answer. I think I do, but you might surprise me. What about you? Do you partake in the luxury?
I do. But I like style. I like style, and I do high low. Like some of my best outfits, some of it are designers and some of it I can have a whole fit from Target because I believe it looks good because I'm in it type of thing. But most of my designer stuff actually are Black designers. So like Fee Noel or Andrea Yama or Brandon Blackwood, to name a few. There's very few luxury items that I have. Maybe my Jack Moose hat, which is French, like a white French guy. But most of 90% of my designer items are Black designers. I used to own Louis Vuitton and other bags, and I gave them to my cousins and stuff because I just felt like, I don't know, I love Brandon Blackwood as a designer and I like unique statement pieces. Hello. So I just was like, I don't like the logo stuff either. Like I kind of matured from that. I don't want people to know what I'm wearing, if that makes sense. I don't want people to be able to clock the price on anything that I have.
That's interesting. That's an interesting take on it. Because I never ever thought about that. When I grew up, my family didn't have a lot of money. Sometimes I was wearing Kmart shoes. Of course I wanted to wear the Reeboks, but at the time we couldn't. So therefore, I guess I never really grew up with that even thought of it. If I could save money and it still looked good, I didn't care. But we actually have some really great comments, and I want to make sure that we bring them up. And Anonymous 76 says they're stealing something. We are so eager to give our money to even though we are still crying for inequality. That is what I want to go into next, ladies, because they're being accused of using Chinese workers. And we also know that Chinese workers also tend to be child labor. Okay. And we over here are asking for reparations for our communities. How can we justify buying these products when we know they're saying allegedly, but I'm sorry, I feel like that's what they do. They've been undercover so many times. We know this. How can we say that we want better for our communities when other communities are also being exploited? And I would love to hear Minister Connie's take on that.
I think that whatever happens, I think that things repeat itself. Like, we were in slavery and we came out of slavery, and people love to enslave people for some reason. I don't know why, but people like to enslave them. But a child being in slavery to produce a product is terrible. And we all should look at that. That is a crime. That is a crime, with them getting paid hardly nothing. So that is a crime. We would not want our children to be enslaved to work to earn a couple of dollars. It's not only happening in China, it's also happening in Africa also. Child labor, there's no laws there. So therefore, there's no protection for those people. And we are the ones that should say something about it and be an advocate for them.
I agree. And let's be clear, we're talking about luxury properties, stuff today. However, other companies such as Temu and Shein and all those places are also getting backlash for where they're getting these clothes, and they're causing an environmental problem because a lot of that stuff that gets returned, they end up in landmines, and a lot of children are also doing them. But we're focusing on the luxury because, to me, if you're making that much money, you should have some type of responsibility to humanity, period, to be the best that you can be. But I am loving our comments, and I'd love to hear you guys as well. Let us know, do you buy luxury? Is it something that you splurge on? How does it make you feel? We really want to hear what you're saying. Cynthia said Black people spend more on trying to look like they have money than any other people. Jade, what is your take on that?
Yeah, I agree. And I guess I will be guilty of doing that as well. I mean, I have a level of pride, and I like to look nice and present very, very well. And so I don't think that that's necessarily a Black thing or a Black problem, but spending beyond our means as a community is the issue, and that's something that definitely needs to be looked at. That's why I like luxury items, and I buy them at 70-80% off, 90% off if I can, or I'll just shop in my mom's closet. uh, so I think it becomes an issue when we spend beyond our means. And I think Anonymous 76 said it's luxury because white people say so. Well, I guess it really depends on how you're defining luxury. Like, there are these luxury brands, and so brand is an idea. This is what you need to wear in order to have a higher level of self-worth or social acceptance. For me, luxury is quality materials. So I want to wear real, like, high quality materials. I want to put something on my skin that's not going to make it itch. I want to wear shoes and put shoes on my feet that are going to last and aren't going to bend out of shape after a couple times of me wearing them or breaking them in. So to me, luxury means quality. It doesn't necessarily mean a white brand or a white person. Actually, I do prefer, like Athena, black brands. But I just wanted to make one other comment about companies like Shein and Temu, where they're mass producing a lot of these things in China. Some of those materials are made out of toxic materials, right? Different types of chemicals have been found in children's toys and different items, using those, particular companies. And so we get to be very, very mindful of that, because there are other environmental waste issues as well as health issues when we're wearing, something that says it's cotton, but it's really not cotton, or it's polyester, or it has these different allergens in it. So that's how I'm defining luxury.
That's very interesting that you say, because I don't recall anything like that coming out of these luxury products. No stories about what type of material is being used, even though we do know, guys, China's standards are a lot lower than what American standards are, and vice versa in some situations. That's a whole nother topic. We're going to talk about food, but brands itself can get away with a whole lot more and still be able to ship into our country. Tamir says, I heard luxury brands also make knockoffs, but I don't know if that's true. Yes, they do. They have what they call their luxury, and then they call their second offs. Over in Europe, that's what they call them, second choice. And that's just maybe if a stitching or something is off. Hey, if you guys are just now joining us, you are joining Fly Nubian Money. We are here Monday through Friday at 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time every day, Monday through Friday. You don't want to miss it. And as you can see, you got a lot of lovely queens here talking about some really good things that are going on in our communities and how we address them. And sometimes we have some pretty good solutions as well. So make sure that you join us Monday through Friday, 1 p.m. If you do miss us here, you can take us on the road with you. Just go ahead and hit up Spotify. You can find us at Fly Nubian Money there. And if you want to be reminded, because you just don't want to miss any of this tea, you want to text the word Queens, QUEENS, to 87948. I want to get back into this. Now, Tiara, you definitely deal with a lot of red carpet and any kind of, TV, which we always see at these shows when they first come on the red carpet. What are you wearing, darling? They're always asking that the first thing after they announce the name. So I want to know, do you think that these brands make us feel like we need them?
Absolutely. It's conditioning all the way. They use celebrities to appeal to us. They use Black celebrities. If you have Versace or if you have Gucci or whatever on the red carpet, people want to know, a lot of, in our community, unfortunately, like, our entertainers glorify and have always kind of or at least lately, maybe not when hip hop first started, that wasn't the thing, but they glorify brands. I wear Gucci. I mean, they're constantly like covering their body with these brands. And so I think because hip hop is influential. I mean, it's music, right? So we are influenced by that. But what I want to say is, like, on top of like the conditioning of and on top of that conditioning, like, when I think of, most people wouldn't even know who, or when they're looking around, they spend all this money on Louis Vuitton and all these people. But if you saw those people on the street, most of the time you wouldn't even know who they were. It's like we have been branded in such we it's been branded in such a way as luxury. And I don't know if it's always, luxury, because you can get a nice leather bag from, like you said, Target or from TJ Maxx, and it's still luxury, it's still nice, it still will last you. I think when you put like a Gucci sign on it, it really changes maybe that person's esteem. Maybe they feel like it's filling a void of feeling important. Maybe, they didn't have I don't know, money. Maybe they didn't have attention, and just getting those things is associated with success. And unfortunately, we fall into that trap. Just from a historical place, if we look at things like slavery, taking our identity away, it's like these brands are giving us an identity and telling other people, yes, I'm successful. It's that, making that statement. So I think we get caught in that. Not necessarily any of the queens on this panel, but I think Black women do get caught in that, unfortunately. Like, that's what's giving us our esteem, unfortunately.
I call it keeping up with the Joneses. But then sometimes I see that there's a validation to that. Like, if you're going for a job, you don't want to just walk in with anything. People are still watching, believe it or not. The perceptions of of you walking in those type of situations are important. And sometimes they are the line. I love this comment. C says, trust and believe. None of these brands should define us as a people, period. I don't glorify any of it. And I'm not amused by the fancy cars, shoes, clothes. I buy what I can afford on my income. And that's actually where I am. If I can't afford, I'll sit back and go, ooh, as all of them want to, but it may not come home with me. Athena, I have a question for you. Have you ever felt pressured to buy something expensive to fit in or to feel better? And did it affect you financially and emotionally? Now, I'm talking a little bit from the money side on you too, because you deal with money. So have you ever felt pressured that you needed to buy luxury?
I've never felt pressured to buy luxury. Even to this day, like, I've never owned a pair of Jordans. Like, even as a kid, I never owned a pair of Jordans. And I really attribute that more so to my personality. I just buy what I like. Okay. And that's how I've always done it. And I also kind of like to buy things that are unique. So not everyone will always have them. If that's how my style works. I like statement pieces like what I'm wearing today. But I've always questioned to the need to fit in, and I kind of understand it. The way I was raised, I grew up in Jamaica. We went to school, we wore the same uniform. Jamaica is a country that has economic issues, so we do dress as far as to delineate class and who has money and who does not. But on a day-to-day, as far as you're going to school, you're going to work, no one really cares. So I think I kind of carried that mentality when I moved here. I did notice in America, culturally, not just the Black community, but across the board, that brands as a way to signify wealth or class was more prominent here. And research also showed, and that's not unique to US either. In China, where a lot of luxury spending actually occurs in China, most of like the sales in luxury comes from actual China, which is interesting because the countries that have the most income disparity, so like US, China, and stuff like that, have populations and actually spend more on luxury. And it's actually mostly middle class to upper middle class people who spend on luxury, or as far as the spending is concerned, because they want the psychology behind that is to increase your status. A lot of rich people don't care, or they buy what's considered quiet luxury, which would be like a luxury brand like the Row or something like that, but not necessarily have the logo or display that that it is. I remember my mentor, and I'll wrap this up. My mentor, I met him. He had a white button down, slacks, looked like whatever a regular man would wear at work. I didn't know his white shirt cost $500. It was a brand I never heard of in my life. But he was very, very wealthy. So they don't necessarily, if most wealthy people really don't care and just buy what they want, or if they do, they tend to buy brands that you would know what they're wearing.
I have to tap onto that. There is a great book out there called The Millionaire Next Door, and it taps right into this concept of what people think a millionaire is. And your millionaire might be right next door driving a Prius or a Honda or anything else, because they don't always partake in the luxury items, because that's how they got to be a millionaire. So I think a lot of the times the perception of it is very interesting, because that's not always the case. Listen, I have clients come in every day and they driving Jaguars and everything else. I was around when it was called Jaguar. So, but they coming in with all these fancy cars and these expensive clothes, and they want to buy a house, and they pull up the information and they have their credit is shot and they own nothing. So we have to start from the very beginning. So their perception that they want of people looking at them is actually on their back, and they don't think that the things behind that are just as important to get to the next level. I want to address a couple of comments that we have, because we really have some great comments here. And I also want to ask our viewers, if you do buy luxury, what is your favorite brand? Is there one that you will always go out of your way for to get? And does it have to be this season? Because honey, when you get into seasons, I don't even know which is which. I have no idea. When somebody says that was last year, I'm like, okay, I have no idea. So Arlie says, why are someone spending all this money on luxury brands? Validation, self-worth booth. Who are they trying to impress? Someone that doesn't even know you. Minister Connie, I know you like your favorites, so I'm gonna let you tackle that. What are some of those answers, those questions for you?
I'm pretty much, I buy what I like. That's what I do. I think it's disrespectful when a person goes out and spending their money on all these brand names and don't have life insurance. That's so awful. Or their lights are being turned off. We have that a lot in the Black community. But you know what I like? I like consignment stores. Love them. I go into the high-end consignment stores and I buy clothes. So I buy my clothes, I buy my bags. So I love them. So I save a lot of money. Someone put out the original, and I'll usually buy them brand new or gently used, but mostly brand new, never worn. So I'm a big shopper on that.
I'm with you, especially in Hollywood. Tiara, what you got?
Lala, I was just gonna say, you asked a question about whether when you asked Athena if she had ever felt pressured to buy luxury brands, and she said she didn't. On the flip side, I have. When I went to college, like I said, I come from a family that loves luxury brands, and when I went to college, I went to an HBCU, and there was a lot of students, or a lot of kids there, that could afford luxury. They came from, really, their parents were doctors and lawyers and all the things. And I was like, oh, okay, this is what we're supposed to do. And so when new things came out, I remember Beyonce came out in a video. She had like Manolo Blahnik Timberland boots, and I was like, oh, I need to order some of those. And like, I would use refund checks from school to look fly every day. Like, I was on campus big stepping, but I was like using refund checks, right? I had a full ride. Don't ever do this, kids at home. I had a full ride, a full scholarship to school, but I still like got Sally Mae. Like, I was lured into that, and I used that money to like look fly the whole time, and so that's my biggest regret. But I did do that, and I came into it, and I feel like at that time, when I was 18 or 19, it made me fit in. It made me feel like I was fitting in. It made me feel like I came from means, or whatever it was that my soul needed at that moment. I did do that. And I think sometimes in Hollywood, what I notice here is that people pay attention to what you're wearing. if they just do. I mean, I think in general, people pay attention, especially Black people. They looking you up and down. They're looking and seeing what you're wearing. Oh, those are some nice Louis Vuitton shoes. Oh, that's a nice bag you got. Where'd you get that from? Oh, it's people care about that and they want to do business. Sometimes when I'm here, people want to do business with people they feel like have money, right? So if you pull up in a Range Rover, the business meeting might be a little different if you pull up in a Honda, so it's unfortunately, I feel like there's a conditioning that and I'm just going to keep saying that we have to kind of get out of. Because when I think about it now, it's stupid. Like spending $2,000 on a bag that was 57 cents to make feels like irresponsible to me. Like it feels like, why would I do that? Like I could just go to Target and I could just get something cute. I just don't see the purpose anymore, especially if people are being exploited. I don't want to be exploited. Minister Connie said, I don't want to feel like I wouldn't want my 13-year-old daughter to be in a factory working long hours. Like when I think about that, it's kind of unfair. And I know that more brands, not just Dior, all the brands do it. So if you think about it, Louis Vuitton, all the brands do that. And they, that's how they manufacture. That's how they keep those profit margins excessive and astronomical. So, just knowing that, I feel like moving forward as a consumer, I don't know if I will ever put I'll find luxury elsewhere. Because like I said, if those people walk down the street, I wouldn't know who they were. If their family is like living a luxurious life off of my little dollars, and I wouldn't know those people from a can of paint. So I just feel like it's stupid.
I love that. I want to hit something on that because I am a big believer in vision boards, and I started doing vision boards in my 20s. I'm now 54. I always want to say 53, 54, but I feel 20. And if I were to look at my vision board, because I found an old one when we were moving, and I looked at that board from 20, and I looked at my board until now, and all of those luxury items and stuff on that first vision board mean nothing to me now. My life now wants more quality time in my life journey. So I think this also comes into play with the age. So if you're just now joining us, you are watching Fly Nubian Money, and you are here with my queens today, and we are talking about luxury items. Do we actually get into them? Do we buy them? How do we justify them? Are these companies responsible for some of us having financial issues? If you don't want to miss any of our shows, all you have to do is make sure you text the word Queens, QUEENS, to 87948. Make sure that you follow us here, like, comment, share. We got a lot of great comments today. And then also make sure that you follow us on Spotify. Now, listen, if you think that you have what it takes to be on our panel or you want to be a part of our show, all you have to do is give us an email. We would love to have you. Come join us. So you can do that by emailing info@realvirtual.net. And I'm going to spell that so you don't mess it up. info@REELVIRTUAL.net. We would love for you to come and join us. So we're going to jump right on back into this conversation because I find that it is very interesting. So let's hit some more stats. I do want to pull up stats right now because this here to me, and we're going to tap into this, social media influence. These are the psychological and social impacts that we see. A survey by American Psychological Association found that 90% of millennials use social media, and 88% believe that social media fosters materialism by promoting an idealized version of life and success. Honey, I see it every day. Self-esteem. Research from the Journal of Consumer Research suggests that conspicuous consumption, buying luxury goods to display wealth, can be linked to lower self-esteem and higher levels of social anxiety. Whoa, this is pretty big because now we're talking about our mentality, right? I feel like a lot of kids are trying to be these influencers and they are trying to get into a lot of these brands because they get them for free and it makes them look like they have more. However, once again, in my business, I've seen kids all living together and like in the early trying to come to Hollywood and be famous. And there's 5, 6 to 10 people live in an apartment and they're all eating ramen noodles if they're lucky to get that. So, Jade, do you think that this is something that we really need to be paying attention to for our next generation and teaching them quality over quantity and life over things?
Yeah, thank you for that question. I think so. I know a lot of bullying starts to happen in middle school age, even in elementary school, right? I think Athena said she's never had a pair of Jordans. I've never had a pair of Jordans either. That's so funny. But, children start to pick up on those things and then they feed off of the adults in the room, the teachers, parents, how materialistic we may or may not be. And that kind of sets a standard. But we definitely need to teach our children social responsibility, right? Investing back into the community as opposed to being extremely materialistic and individualistic and wanting to spend unnecessary amounts of money on material things that have essentially no value. They just depreciate over time, especially when they get worn out. And so that is something that we get to teach our children. I know a lot of schools have made the move to have kids wear uniforms, and they're very, very strict, even on the types of shoes and backpacks and things that they wear. But either way, children are still being socialized into being materialistic by virtue of the media and the music, right? Especially when you talk about rap music. I know I'll put some rap music lyrics from like maybe 10 or 20 years ago in the chat. But yeah, it teaches like, yo, it's cool to be irresponsible, but I look fly though. So that's all that matters. And we get to shift the narrative around that as it pertains to financial literacy with young people in the Black community.
I think that this is a great teaching point. Oh, jump in. Somebody was jumping in.
I was just about to say, it reminds me of, and actually was in this music video, but that's hilarious. Gator boots with the pimped out Gucci suits.
Yeah, I wrote that in the chat.
I'm still fly. I was in that music video.
Listen, you still fly, Tiara.
I was in that music video. That's so funny. But that's what it makes me think of. Like that's so true. It's like as you were talking, Jade, I just thought, like Minister Connie, the difference between Minister Connie and I think a lot of people is that Minister Connie is saying she has assets. And so those assets, when those dividends come in from those assets, then she can take them and then buy a liability if she wants to, right? Because she's not taking it away from the principal. She's taking it away from the other money that comes in. So I think if we're just mindful, like we just spending. It's not like I'm going to take this money. Oh, I have this came in from my investment. I'm going to take some of the money from that and then spend that. That way you're always still, you still have your money, So I just think that's the difference between what Minister Connie is saying and then like what just Black people generally do.
Agree. And listen, even our people, Sean John, all those Black owned companies, their products are not cheap either. So we really need to be calling those out, because who are you actually selling to? Our communities who are also suffering because they're paying every last cent they have to get those and saying that they're supporting you, but how are you also supporting your community, right? I want to address some of the comments that we have. Terry Wilson said, I used to make my own clothes in high school to include both my prom dresses. The dresses looked stylish and many thought I brought them from a store. I think that's a lost art. I for a while there, I was like really into sewing and I had a really good time with that. I think that's something that we could teach as a life skill to do that. Miss French Twist said, I bought a vintage black quilted Chanel double flap bag 23 years ago at Goodies for $3.99. I love that. And then Jacinta says, all of this is learned behavior. We, Black people, equate luxury with acceptance and equality because these are the symbols we've seen who help marginalize us prescribe to. I have to agree with that.
Yeah.
We always kind of want to fit in with the Joneses, right? But this is not just for, clothing, guys. There's other things that are involved that are considered luxury as well. And sunglasses is one of them. So I have a video that I want you to watch, and then I'm going to get a response from all the ladies when we come back. This one is a shocker. Hold on to your hats because it's real interesting.
Ray-Ban does not want you to know this secret. Ray-Ban, why are your sunglasses so expensive? Well, it's a world-class brand crafted from the finest. Hold that thought, I'll call your factory. Hey factory, how much does it cost to make Ray-Ban sunglasses? $10 for frames and $5 for lenses. We also make Prada, Versace, and Burberry in the same line. We just stick a different price at the end. Management likes to aim between 800 to 1,000% markup. Wait, all those brands are owned by one company? And with that type of markup? Yeah, global monopoly called Luxottica. They control over 80% of the world's eyewear market. Oh, that sounds really bad. Oh no, it's great for business. You guys pay us $300 for sunglasses that cost us less than $20 to make. By the way, where did you get my number? I just simply used this website to find any company supplier and contact information. And I learned all this from simply following the real Melanin King.
Okay, ladies, I had to put my flies on because that is my obsession. I want to show you something. You see this box? Yeah. This box. This has got about 40 different sunglasses in it. But I want to tell you where I got them, okay? I didn't spend all that money on that. I actually spent $5 a piece on all these on Hollywood Boulevard. And I am a shade freak. I absolutely love them. So what's up, guilty since you joined the game and put your shades on? So what do you think about that? Is that any different than what we've been talking about with promo?
I feel left out. Nobody told me.
I mean, my friends.
The block was on. Nobody told me.
Are sunglasses just as important as luxury because they can be considered luxury too?
That's funny. Oh,
that is funny. But you know what? Y'all all look really good. You know, these, you know, I love sunglasses and I do buy, these are Pradas. So, you know, and I just found out they were made for $15 or maybe even 20.
Maybe even 20. And you
these are my prescription. These are my prescription frames, and these are definitely Christian Dior. And I'm like, oh, I'm gonna have to get a new pair.
Do you feel like they're doing the same thing with the glasses? Obviously, we just heard that they do. And I did a deep research, guys. You can get almost anything you want for a little bit of nothing. Hey, Miss French Twist and all of our shades are flying. I love it.
Would you 1,000% markup? That 1,000% markup is crazy. Like that's just.
Listen,
I feel like they're almost taking advantage of people. You know, like it's the point where, and I wonder, is it like, I don't know if you guys feel this way. It's almost like when it comes to these shoes and these brands, they're almost taking advantage of people. It's like I'm marking this up 1,000% because I can. You know, like it. I don't know. I feel some type of way today. I'm like, I don't know if I'm ever gonna go and pick up any luxury brands. I'm like, I feel like they're playing in our face a little.
You know what? This is so educating because you know what? This is educating me. But I buy what I like. It doesn't matter. I have some knockoff glasses. I got some glasses that I paid $10 for. It's whatever I think I look good in. I buy. So I'm not stuck on a brand. A lot of my clothes, I got a lot of brand clothes. I got clothes that don't have, it's just a name. But if I like it and it looks cute, I'm buying it.
Mm-hmm. That's the same thing with me because now we're getting into a conversation, Minister Connie, about abundance, right? So I do deserve nice things. I deserve the things that, I work hard for and the things that make me feel good and make me look good in my mind when I put them on. So yeah, I don't have to skimp on getting what I like, especially if I have the means to do it. Now, my issue goes into where I start to feel guilty, being able to get nice things, but I know I have nieces and nephews in my family that are still in school. I can just invest in some stocks for them, which I do, or buy bonds for children and their needs in the community that also need to be filled. So I'm working on balancing that out and still honoring myself to say, you know what? No, I am abundant and I do, I like nice things and that's okay. I don't have to martyr myself in order to be like a poor righteous teacher or servant in order to make a difference. No, I get to have luxury and have luxury experiences as well.
I have a question. Go ahead. I just have a question, Jade, for you. So at this point, when we're saying luxury, are we just talking about luxury brands? Are we talking about, is that now equivalent with luxury? Now that we know that it's not really luxury if they make it for $57,
right?
Is it? Like, you know what I mean? Like, is it?
No,
It's
what I'm
not
saying
luxury.
luxury is high quality items that last long, that
Right.
I actually like. And being able to say, you know what, I like that. I like the way that looks on me. I like the way that fits, and I want it within reason. I'm not going out and saying, oh, I need to have this particular brand. I've never been a brand type shopper. Let me go and get some red bottoms or things like that. But I'm like, oh, those shoes are really, really cute. They may be on the expensive side, but I like them. So I'm going to get them because I deserve them and I work hard. So yeah, I'm not associating it with brands in particular, but quality and style.
I agree with that. And it is all a personal preference as well on what's important to us. Like I will say my husband, he is a very thrifty person. He's very smart about where he spends his money. But when it comes to things that like music is our life, that's what we do. We do music. If he needs that guitar, he's not going to buy a cheap guitar. He's going to put that money into a guitar that is not just because of the name, but because of the quality. So that is a part of the preference and what's important to you and what's not important to you. If you're just now joining us, you are here with Fly Nubian Money, and we are here Monday through Friday, 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And as you can see, we're all fly and we're all queens because we got it like that. And you know you're addicted. So make sure that you come and join us at 1 p.m. Monday through Friday. Make sure that you get the reminder by texting the word Queens, Queens, to 87948. Now, listen, one thing I haven't told you today that I want you to do is to make sure that you head on over to our website because we have a lot of great information there for you to help you get your financial house in order. Yes, we're talking about luxury today, but you can also splurge a little bit as long as you know how to handle the rest of your money and that you're just not eating ramen noodle after going out and buying this Prada and everything else. So head on over there and make sure that you go to flynubianmoney.com so you can get your free resources there. We got a lot of good stuff for you. And ladies, I'm going to change it up a little bit because living in Hollywood, especially, we have some massive problems with crime right now. And I want to pull up some stats about this. And a lot of the time, there's violent crime that is linked to luxury items, right? When you have something and the have-nots don't have something, they're always going to try to come after yours. There's a lot of people who will do that. So let's look at the crime statistics. The Bureau of Justice Statistics reports that robbery is one of the most common crimes associated with high-value items like luxury handbags and sneakers. And Jordan sneakers. A report by Complex Magazine highlighted that at least 1,200 deaths since 1989 can be linked to violent crimes associated with Air Jordan sneakers. Ooh, ladies. Okay, I'm going to start with you, Tiara, because you have a child. Is this something that you think about when you're, buying her clothes? Does it worry you that if she has like a name brand thing on, or do you even buy name brand, that she may be at a higher risk out in the public?
Yeah, no, I'm not thinking about that because we don't we if we give Lauren something, it's just like, hand-me-downs. Maybe she's in my closet, just kind of like I just said, it repeats itself. I go to my aunt's and then my daughter comes and says, "These shoes are cute. Can I have them?" And I say, "Yes." And but we don't really focus on luxury brands, if you will, around my house. Like I'm not extremely materialistic. I don't care where it came from. Like many of the queens have said today, if it's cute, I'll purchase it. But, I think that there is something to be said about envy and jealousy. People see that you have certain things, whether it's a luxury shirt or pants or whatever, or shoes or a car. People start to feel like, well, I don't got that, so I want what they have. And it's a fear. It's almost like it's scary to invest in something just like for carjackings and stuff like that. Yeah, it's the scary thing. It's something that you really have to pay attention to. But for me, um, I don't fear that for Lauren because we just don't focus on that. It's not something that we focus on.
Right. And once again, I'm also a big believer in the law of attraction, not to say that things don't happen. Whether you think positive or not, but sometimes if you're putting your own self in that frame of mind, then things just tend to kind of stay in their own areas. I want to discuss something about that because I bounce back and forth between a lot of places. One place I'm at, because I sell a lot in Los Angeles, There is a massive issue where on Melrose and Beverly Hills and all those areas, Hollywood Boulevard, where you can just go in and sit down and have a meal, and someone walks in with a gun very politely, very shortly, and says, put it in the bag, don't make any noise. Those crimes are definitely on the rise. I'm also in Louisville, Kentucky. That's where I was born and raised there. And they are also having a lot of violence there. And a lot of the times it's luxury items. And then in Portugal, they can care less. I mean, that's just the opposite thing. They just don't really do luxury there. So I have, from a world of seeing all three, which is very interesting. And I want to kind of tap into, Athena, you're in Florida. Do you think that there is violence around the young products, especially in your community, where you're seeing these robberies and the killings over things like Air Jordans?
I would say no, but I live right what I call the gentrification line. So to the left of me is like affluence, and then to the right of me is like middle to lower. So I'm really right at that line, which has done wonders for my property value. But I don't think that usually those type of crimes happen in like distressed neighborhoods. So I'm not privy to that. I wouldn't feel concerned walking out with a luxury item that somebody was going to rob me for it. Maybe if I was overseas and like maybe elsewhere, I would be concerned about that, but I wouldn't feel a way about that currently. But what I do think about when it comes to luxury, because I want to actually touch on something Jade mentioned, which is being in the spirit of abundance. I also don't want the conversation to be that, okay, you're an idiot if you spend a lot of money on an item that is considered luxury. Luxury just means excess, and it means something that is inessential that provides comfort or beauty that you don't necessarily need, right? So that's what luxury means. And I definitely splurge into certain things like this robe I got on right now. But it makes me feel like a goddess. It makes me feel like, I'm just glamoring out here. So I feel amazing when I wear it, right? But I also fund my retirement account and have a business and all these other things too. So to Mrs. Connie's credit, I think balance is the key, and not putting yourself in like a deep economic trench is the key. And also from the luxury industry standpoint, because we're talking about labor, a lot of trafficking happens. Like even certain brands who may not be listed, they will hire like Chinese or other workers, send them to Italy. So you get the Chinese labor, but technically in Italy, so they can say their products are made in Italy. So a lot of luxury brands do that. Also, it's not just with clothing. iPhones, Androids, which everything that we need, they often have their mined in Africa and places with cobalt and copper that benefits off of, distressed labor and child labor as well. So if you're a person that's questioning, okay, you have to come to some kind of grips with your own morals and ethics. But a lot of our goods come from China. A lot of our goods are coming from places that employ cheap labor or trafficking in order to make these things. So you're not immune to that just because you're not buying a Christian Louboutin or Dior or something like that. All of us play into that as far as the global economy, because capitalism requires somebody to be on the bottom to benefit, so they can make profit at the top. So I think this also points to a greater conversation that we need to have as far as humanitarianism and social justice, as to what level are we willing to, as a consumer, alter our behavior to put our money towards the things that we value more, because you're going to be touched by it regardless if it come from Target or your iPhone or everything. You probably own something that is influenced or been touched by that type of labor.
Well, someone has a question for you, darling. They want to know if your robe has a train. Does that robe have a...
Listen, it doesn't have a train, but it does have these voluminous sleeves, darling. These
Oh,
I'm loving it.
I'm
You are wearing that, girl.
You are wearing
the
that.
overall does have a slight train on it because I love stuff to be dragging on the floor. But
I love things with puffy sleeves. Anything puffy, I love it. I love that.
Love how all
You
the
looking
girls
good in
come
that, girl.
We all being girls right now. Like this is one of that's a part of being feminine, guys. Let's be honest. We like to look good. We like to feel like we're beautiful. We like to step out looking good. You know, that is a part of this as well. And I think that the luxury products tie into that. But Athena brings up a really good question that I want to address. But I do not want to ignore our beautiful viewers because they have some really great comments today. Armando says, I feel better knowing my lady packs for her safety. Now we're talking about you can use functionality with some of these luxury products and that she can hit targets with her luxury. There are luxury items that cater to self-protection. And I know that because I'm an agent and I have those. Okay. So those are the things that are important to me because I see functionality. Cindy says, when I worked in retail, I was told the selling markup was very high. A pair of pants that cost $6 to make can be sold for $69 and more. I think luxury brands are okay if you can afford them. That's a really good point. And then, yeah, Jacinta said, yes, we do. And we like to be told that we're beautiful. Yes, we do. That's just a part of this. But Athena actually really pointed something out that I do want to talk about because this is happening in our world right now. There is a movement. It started on TikTok, I do believe, where a lot of the viewers are really tired of the celebrities coming out with all these expensive products and also sending the labor over to China or India or whatever, whether it's hair, whether it's purse, whether it's clothing. And you can see right here, there are a lot of people here who've got these luxury items. And they're canceling them. They're unfollowing them. They're not buying their brands. They're not going to the concerts because they feel like people like us, the average American, cannot really afford going and buying these things without mortgaging their homes. So do you feel that this cancel culture is now going to start making a backlash where things are going to have to balance? Or do you just think this is just a passing phase? Minister Connie, I want to know what you think about that.
I think balance is always good in everything. One of the things that I do before I do anything, I tithe my money. I sow into people. I sow into people to start companies. I can't tell you how many people I have sowed into. That's a luxury for me, is to sow into people or into our community. So that's foremost and most important to me before I buy any of these things. So when you have the luxury of having a nice income, you could do a whole lot of good things. But as far as I think that a lot of these rappers and stars, they can afford to have that kind of items to buy, luxury. They could buy all that kind of stuff. That is in the place of where they're at. But if you cannot afford it, you should not be in that lane at all. Stay in your lane. And so that's how I see things. Stay in your lane. Don't go out and buy things. But make sure, you know what? I'm so tired of seeing Facebook for GoFundMe for funerals. I'm sorry. That is not a subject for today, but I do want to say that I am so tired of sending money out to people that I know that pass away, but yet when you see them, they look so wonderful. They're like Gucci down. They have all these designer things on, and then they pass away. They don't even have insurance. That is a big problem in our Black community, and I want to say that.
I agree with you. Or even going down the street, a basic street at the stoplight where you have people coming up to your car trying to raise money for someone who has passed away and they can't bury them. That it's very distressing to see that. And especially when I have clients come in and they think they have it and they don't, and they can't buy a house, and we got to work really hard to get it. But Tiara, I want to throw that question to you too, because you are in film and you're around acting, you're around all of this stuff. Do you think this cancel culture is going to have an effect on these products such as Kim Kardashian and her Skims and all those things like that are kind of being backlashed against now?
Yeah, well, actually, I feel like there should be a bit of a culture. Like, I feel like there should be balance. I know, with anything gets too out of control or excessive, or people are exploiting people, I think that there should be like some type of movement or force to kind of balance those things back out, if that makes sense, right? So, I would love to see I would love to see that. I would love to see people kind of rise up and say, like, listen, we're going to boycott, we're going to cancel these brands unless you can restore order and restore balance. And so, I would love to see it, to be honest.
I would too. But let's now turn it into our own community. Jade, do you feel that it's important for our communities, our stars, to be more responsible when it comes to their luxury items and knowing where they've come from? A lot of our people who came from like poverty themselves and raised themselves up and or earned it with our athletes and all those things like that, Air Jordan. Do you think that they have a responsibility to be accountable to our communities and allow them to also partake? Or do you think it's all a money game?
I think there should definitely be a level of social responsibility and accountability to the Black community. However, my moral compass is different from other people's moral compass, and everyone has free will, and they're sovereign individuals and can make their own decisions and will continue to make their own decisions with their money. What I try to focus on is what I'm doing in terms of how I see my responsibility and my place in the community and what that should look like, as opposed to, trying to count a celebrity's money. Because again, a lot of celebrities are going to make their own decisions, but a lot of them also are very, very giving and engage in a lot of philanthropy, outside of the tabloids or headlines, and they give and they serve in ways that we would never know. And so I am also while I'm an advocate of saying, like, yes, we need to pool our money together and really, really focus on collective economics. I'm also a big fan of minding my own business and taking care of my own house as opposed to trying to, count other folks. I mean, I used to be really, really hard on Floyd Mayweather. Every time I saw Floyd Mayweather, oh my gosh, I used to be like, oh, this is so disgusting. This is so bad. This is so irresponsible. And, watching, he should be pouring that money into the community instead of going into Gucci and spending $7 million. He's doing what he's doing and I'm doing what I'm doing. Right. At the end of the day, Floyd Mayweather, for example, and I've come to a level of acceptance, and that's why I'm giving this long diatribe. People are going to do what they want, and they value money and they value material things differently. And they also may have their own different moral values. For my own peace of mind's sake, and for me to continue to be constructive and to tap into my own abundance that the Lord wants to bless us all with, then I'm focusing on how I'm managing what God is putting in front of me so that my cup will continue to increase, so that I can show myself approved to be worthy of being a good steward over even more. And so I know I took a long route of answering your question, but hopefully that answers your question.
No, it does. And I think it brings up some very important points, because I always tell people you need to stop worrying about what somebody else is doing, because you can brighten your own world just by starting within your own household. I'm not even telling you to go down your street. First, you need to start with your own household before you can make a difference within yourself, within your community. You got to start with you. I'm loving a couple of these comments over here. One that I definitely want to call attention to is Discover Ryan. I know how to cut corners, but I have a 16-year-old that is struggling with social media influencers. I think this is something that we're definitely going to have to continue to watch over our children with, because it is hard. You can tell them that things like that don't matter, but peer pressure is also something that they also have to think about, because it can definitely lead to depression and other thoughts that may not be so good when they feel like they don't fit in. So I definitely can feel for that comment, because we all have gone through it. We all can't say that we haven't gone through it. There's something that we don't fit in at some point in our life where we do want to do that. Miss French Twist also says she puts out for buying organic food, right? That's important to her. So that's considered luxury food, right? Because that stuff ain't cheap, all right? But you know what you're putting in your body a lot of the times. And Armando says, yes, parents just don't understand about all that. And I agree with that. Sometimes you can say that they don't, but it's not as easy, especially nowadays with so much violence, for us to just advise our kids to ignore it. So ladies, this has actually been an absolute wonderful show, and I'm grateful for all of the comments that we have had today. We really appreciate you being here. So I want to end on a question for all of you, and then please answer this question and give us your final thoughts on our topic today, and make sure that you let us know where we can find you. What changes would you like to see in how luxury brands market to and interact with our community? What we've heard, what we've seen, them paying a little to charge a lot. How would you like them to change this in our communities? And I'm going to start with you, Tiara.
I was over here making all the notes. The thing about Black women and consumerism is that we buy very often. We are often very loyal. I don't have the stats in front of me, but Black women are the target in most cases. Men typically make bigger purchases, but women buy more often. They don't buy as often as women. And so, when I'm thinking about our culture and just Black women, and just like the wealth gap and kind of where we are as a community, I mean, we talk about stats and we talk about numbers of where we are. And, most likely we're at the bottom economically, just when it comes to economics. I'm going to just stay there. But, we're at the bottom. And so I just want us to be conscious about where we're spending money, knowing that we're at the bottom and then there's this wealth gap. I mean, there's just things that we can do. There's things that we can do. And so instead of maybe allowing ourselves to be seduced by Gucci and Prada and all of those things, understanding that those bags cost under $50, under $60 to make. And maybe we could spend our money in our own communities, and we could find luxury brands within our own communities. Maybe we could, I know we often talk about cooperative economics in here. Maybe we could keep our dollars in our neighborhoods, in our neighborhoods, period. And so there's that. And I think that if we're just a little bit more conscious and understand, like, maybe there's a void there, that makes us gravitate towards those things instead of, I know sometimes with conditioning you feel like it's free will, but a lot of times it's conditioning, baby. They have conditioned you to want those things, to feel like, okay, I feel empty inside, I feel lonely, I feel whatever, and then using retail as the answer to that. Well, this makes me feel better. I feel better in a Range Rover than a Saturn, right? I feel better. I feel more important. Whatever it is that you're missing. Maybe your daddy wasn't in the house. Maybe whatever it is. Like, I know that sometimes Black women use retail to, like, fill those voids. So just be conscious, Black women, if that is you and that is what you're doing. Just maybe, like, start to, like, maybe heal on the inside. You don't need that. You're enough. You don't need those things for that, if that makes sense. So I just want to tell you that, sis. Like, I'm talking to all the sisters, right? If you feel like you need that validation, if you feel like, you need that, then, just look inside, look inward. You don't need that. You're enough. You don't need the brands. You don't need to go broke to look rich. And you can find me at Miss Black Hollywood. That's MSBLACK Hollywood across all platforms.
Love it. Thank you for your final thoughts. Minister Connie, what are your final thoughts, and how would you answer that question, and where can we find you?
Validation should come from the Lord. You should help validate yourself. So it shouldn't be in a product or luxury item. I would like to see more of those designers to bring more jobs here into the Black community, since we are the high consumer of a lot of their products. It would be nice to bring those jobs in the community for the purses that we're spending our money on. My thoughts is that, stay in your lane. If you can't afford it, don't buy it. It's just something that, of people that have a little bit more money that would like to feel like they have bought a quality piece. But I have changed my mind on that, so I'm gonna have to work on that myself. So this was a good segment for me. But you can find me at ConnieSpearman.com.
Great. Thank you. I love that advice. All right, Athena, I'd love to hear your final thoughts as well as where we can find you.
Okay, so my final thoughts is this. I don't think that you should put yourself in some kind of financial or economic hole to afford luxury. I also think that we can support more of our own Black luxury designers, which is what I like to do as well. But I don't want people to also have shame around buying luxury items. I think that you should focus on balance and focus on your values and create your abundant life and the abundance you need if that is what you want. So for all my ladies, I know you have watched today, and I know you have been watching me, and I don't know why you have been wasting time, honey, because I have the Goddess Guide to Money and a free preview of that course that is available on my website at We Wealth Woman. If you want to be the woman who creates her wealthy goddess life, I would love to be your coach. You can find me at wewealthwoman.com or at We Wealth Woman on all social media platforms, and listen to my podcast, the We Wealth Woman podcast, on Apple, Spotify, and iHeart. I love you, darlings, and be the wealthy goddess of your life.
Listen, you better let that flow. I love
I'm gonna need you to wear that robe more often, man.
I know, like all I see is arms going, yes.
It's
It has
giving
magical powers. I feel like
Uh-huh.
it has magical power. You put it on and you feel like a goddess. You know how like Doctor Strange had his like powerful wing coat thing? Like I feel like I just put it on and I'm like, oh, I'm magical.
I love it. I love it. Jade, I don't know.
I love it.
Give us your final thoughts and where we can find you.
Yeah, my final thoughts, everything that all the queens on the panel said. Also, just really determine what is value to you and what is valuable, right? Some of us may value material things. Some of us may spend a lot of money on water, like myself. I'll drop $20 on a bottle of water with no problem. I'll go out and spend hundreds of dollars on high quality food because that's really important to me. It's like the most important thing I put in my body. I'll also spend, if I could, millions of dollars on education and educational experiences. So determine what you value and how you value it, and then also work and go out and get those things. But also know that your worth, your value, it definitely comes from within. So I am Jade Harrell. I'm an educator and organizer, and you can find me at highblackesteem.com. And we talk about having high levels of racial esteem as Black folks, and really using our efficacy as Black people and putting that back into the community through service and resources and philanthropy. So you can go to highblackesteem.com. My final thoughts are to do you, boo. Do you, boo. Do what floats your own boat. And also, as Minister Connie says, stay in your lane. Yeah, absolutely.
Don't go broke.
Don't
go broke. Yeah. Don't go broke. And I am Laura Lalaki. I'm an international real estate agent. And my final thoughts is this: it's okay to want things that are considered luxury, just as long as you make sure that you take care of your household and you first, because nothing material ever is worth you. If you have to sacrifice you and you're miserable just to get those things, then it's not worth your energy, your time, your emotional. Your body, mind, and spirit comes first before you deal with things like that, and you're not eating well or buying a home for generational wealth or having a car that you can get around to do the things that you need. Make sure you put your priorities straight. And you can find me at bit.ly Laura Key info. But now I want to say thank you. We have come to the conclusion of our show today, and we have had such a wonderful interaction with each and every one of you. We are grateful that you're here, and we love all of your comments. Keep liking, keep sharing, continue to comment because we do come back and we answer some of your comments. We like to keep the conversation going. But we are here Monday through Friday at 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. You don't want to miss any of our shows. And you can text the word Queens, Queens, to 87948, and you'll never miss a show. Then you can check us out on Spotify. Put us in your car. Take us on lunch break. Do whatever you need to do because we talk about a lot of fun stuff. So head on over there and make sure that you look up Fly Nubian Money there, and make sure you leave us a 5-star rating because that definitely helps us there. And then, guys, if you want to be a part of this show, all you have to do is email us at info@realvirtual.net. I'll spell that out, info at REELVIRTUAL.net, and you can come and see if you can be a fellow queen with us today. And finally, we are talking about money, and that's what we do here. We talk about how we can help you do better with your money. You want to make sure that you go to our website. We have a ton of wonderful resources for you to get started on managing your money so that maybe you can buy a few more luxury things in your life. Hit us up there at flynubianmoney.com. Queens, I always have a really good time with you, and I'm so glad that I got to spend this time with you as well. We appreciate you all being here, and we will see you tomorrow at 1 p.m. Bye, Queens. See you later.